Nay, quoth the thinker, shaking his head slowly from side to side. Goer with no man gin it be not with my own free will. Nay, nay, said the messenger. No man is there in Nottinghamshire could make thee go against thy will, thou brave fellow. Ay, that be I brave, said the thinker. Ay, marry, said the messenger, thou art a brave lad, but our good sheriff hath offered 80 angels of bright gold to whomsoever shall serve the warrant upon Robin Hood, though little good will it go. Then I will go with thee, lad. Do but wait till I get my bag and hammer and my cudgel. Ay, let me but meet the same Robin Hood, and let me see whether he will not mind the king's warrant. So, after having paid their score, the messenger with the tinker, steering beside his nag, started back to Nottinghamshire again. One bright morning, soon after this time, Robin Hood started off to Nottingham town to find what was a-doing there, walking merrily along the roadside where the grass was sweet with daisies. His eyes wandered, and his thoughts also. His budgel horn hung at his hip, and his bow and arrow at his back, while in his hand he bore a good stout oaken staff, which he twiggled with his fingers as he strolled along. As those he walked down a shady lane, he saw a tinker coming, trolling a merry song as he drew nigh. On his back hung his bag and his hammer, and his hand he carried a right stout crab staff, full 6 feet long, and thus sang he. In peascore time, when hung the horn, give ears till buck be killed, and little lads with papers of corn sit keeping beasts afield. Holla, good friend, cried Robin. I went to gather strawberries. Holla, cried Robin again. By woods and grovels full fair. Holla, art thou a deaf man? Good friend, say I. And who art thou dost so boldly check a fair song? Quoth the tinker, stopping in his singing. Holla, shine own self, whether thou be good friend or not. But let me tell thee, thou shalt fellow, gin thou be a good friend, it will well for us both, but gin thou be no good friend, it will be ill for thee. And whence comest thou, my lusty blade? Quoth Robin. I come from Banbury, answered the tinker. Alas, cried Robin, I hear there is sad news is merry morn. Ha, is it indeed so? Cried the tinker eagerly. Prithee tell I speedily, for I am a thinker of trade, as thou seest, and as I am in a trade, I am greedy for news, even as a priest is greedy for farthings. Well then, quoth Robin, list thou, and I will tell, but bear thyself up bravely, for the news is sad, I would. Thus it is. I hear that 2 thinkers are in Stockton's for drinking ale and beer. Now, a merry size thee and thy news, thou scurvy dog, quoth the tinker, for thou speakest but ill of good men. But sad news it is indeed. Gin there be 2 stout fellows in 2 stocks. Nay, said Robin, thou hast missed the mark, and dost but weep for the wrong swerve. The sadness of the news lies in that there be but 2 in the stocks, for the other do roam the country at large. No, by the pifter platter of Saint Dunstan, said the tinker, I have a good part of the midst to blast thy chin for their ill east, but gin men but put in the stocks for drinking ale and beer, I trow thou wouldest not lose thy part. Loud laughed Robin, and cried, Now well taken, tinker, well taken, thy these wist are like beer, and do frown up most when they grew sour. But right art thou, man, I love ale and beer right well, therefore come straight forward with my heart by to the side of the Blue Boar, and if thou drinkest, as thou appearest, and I thou wilt not believe thee looks, I will drench thy throat with a good home brewed, as ever was trapped in all broad Nottinghamshire. Now, by my faith, said the tinker, thou art a right good fellow in spite of thy scrotchy yeast. I love thee, my sweet shuck, and gin I go not with thee to the same Blue Boar, thou mightest call me a harpet. Then, me thy news, good friend, I prithee, quoth Robin, as they jogged along together. For thinkers, I ween, are all as full of news as an egg of meat. Now I love thee as my brother, by bully blade, said the tinker. Else I would not tell thee my news, for slay am I, a man, and I have in a hand a great undertaking that doth call for all my wits. For I come to seek a bold outlaw than man, I hereabout call Robin Hood. With him, my port, I have a warrant, all fairly written out on pergament, forsmooth with a great red seal, for the make in lawful. Could I but meet the same Robin Hood, I would serve it up on his dainty body, and if he mindest it not, I would beat him till every one of his ribs would cry Amen. But thou livest hereabouts, mayhap thou knewest Robin Hood themselves, good fellow. Ay, marry, that I do somewhat, quoth Robin, and I have seen him in very morn. But, tinker, men say that he is but a sad, sly thief. Thou hadst better watch thy warrant, man, or else he may steal it out of thy very porch. Let him but try, cried the tinker. Sly man be he, but sly am I too. I had him here now, man to man, and he made his heavy cudgel to spin again. But what manner of man is he, I lad? Much like myself, said Robin, laughing, and I in height and build and age nigh the same, and he hath blue eyes too. Nay, quoth the tinker, thou art but a green youth. I thought him to be a great bearded man. Nottingham men fear him so. Truly he is not so old nor so stout as thou art, said Robin, but meant to call him a right deaf and a quarterstaff. That may be, said the tinker right sturdily, but I am more deaf than he. For did I not overcome Simon of Ale in a fair bout in the ring at Hereford town? But if you knowest him, my jolly blade, wilt thou go with me and bring me to him? 80 bright angels hath the sheriff promised me if I serve the warrant upon the knight's body, and 10 of them will I give to thee if thou soughtest me him. Ay, that will I, quoth Robin, but show me thy warrant, man, until I see whether it is good or no. That will I do, even to my own brother, answered the tinker. No man shall see my warrant till I serve it upon your fellow own body. So be it, quoth Robin, and though show it not to be, I know not to whom you will show it. But here we are at the side of the Blue Boar, so let us in and taste his brown October. No sweeter inn could be found in all Nottinghamshire than that of the Blue Boar. None had such lovely tears standing around, or was so covered with tating clementiss and sweet wort-wine. None had such good beer and such humming ale. Nor in winter-time, when the north wind howled and snow drifted round the hedges, was there to be found elsewhere such a roaring fire as blazed up on the heart of the Blue Boar. At such times might be found a jolly company of yeomen or country folk seating around the blazing hearth, branding merry jests, while roasted crabs, small sour apples, bobbed in bowls of ale up on the hearthstone. Well known was the inn to Robin Hood and his band, for there had he and such merry companions as Little John and Will Sturdley, or Dave of Doncaster, often gathered when all the forest was filled with snow. As for my host, he knew how to keep a still tongue and his head, and to swallow his words before they passed his teeth, for he knew very well which side of his bread was spread with butter, for Robin and his band were the best of customers, and paid their scores without having them to crack up behind the door. So now, when Robin Hood and the tinker came thereof too, and called aloud for 2 great pots of ale, none would have known from looks or speech that the host had ever set eye upon the outlaw before. "Bide thou here," quoth Robin the tinker, "while I go and see that mine host drew his ale from the right butt, for he hath good October, I know, and that brew by Willow of Tamworth." So saying, he went within the widespread to the host to add a measure of Flemish strong waters to the good English ale, which the latter did and brought it to them. "By our good lady," said the tinker after a long draught of the ale, "ye same withhold of Tamworth, a right good Saxon name too, I would have thee now, breathest the most humming ale that e'er passed to the lips of what o' the Crabshaft." "Drink, man, drink," cried Robin, only wetting his own lips meanwhile. "O landlord, being my friend another pot of the same, and now for a song, my jolly blade."